Welcome back to Mega Man 03. Last time, Dr. Vile exploded a town because he needed to get Omega over to the Dark Elf as soon as possible. Ciel told him to shove it, and now, as Zero says, it's his job to stop the armies that are now approaching us because, well, Ciel told Dr. Vile to shove it. Very deserved. Honestly, he deserves worse. But, yeah, we are actually still in the mid-game. You can tell because we only have 3 fights, and it's bosses from previous games, not more of Vile's numbers. So yes, this time around we're going to be fighting one of the 3 generals that's heading here right now across the desert. Also, fun fact about Anubis Necromancis, you might remember in Mega Man 0, he was Anubis Necromancis III, and as you saw from the little bio for the mission, he's now Anubis Necromancis V. Which means, yes, he was also Anubis Necromancis IV when you refought him in Neo Arcadia. So every time he revives, he just attaches a new number to himself, which is honestly kind of funny. That's not normally how it works. That's usually for your children, not for you coming back from the dead, but then again, I guess nobody's really tried doing it that way in real life, so no precedent. Anyway though, right, so we do get an admittedly less cool version of the desert theme from 02, so it's a bit of a slower, more ominous version of for Endless Fight. Unfortunately, no more departure. But yeah, now we have a giant worm boss, which isn't too difficult, but the purple enemies that drop from the ceiling are the bane of my existence. I hate them so much. I really don't like anything that ends my runs by just coming out of nowhere and dropping on my head, but whatever, it's fine. They're not too bad during the boss, I guess. They're still easily the worst part of it, but whatever. Anyway, short topic of the day, since it's actually a pretty short stage. I would just like to point out the fact that this is the first time that Ciel's ever been in any real physical danger in this series. Up until now, of course, she's been threatened, and of course, she could get shot in, the bombing mission in 02. There was originally plans to let her be killable in that mission, and you'd get a mission failed for that, but they decided, maybe not. So it just reduces your mission score. So yeah, she's, I guess in fairness, minimal harm in that case. She's been at minimal physical harm, because of course she is a human. And up until now, since we're dealing with a civilization that values humans and wants to protect them from the big scary Reploids that we are, she wouldn't necessarily be killed, probably just brought back to Neo Arcadia and punished in some capacity, don't know how much. And then of course in the second game, again, other than the fact that she could be shot dead, probably mostly by accident, those weren't exactly smart soldiers that were coming after us during that segment. But yeah, other than that, she wasn't in physical danger, because Elpisa was trying to kill Neo-Arcadian humans, but he still did respect Ciel even in the end. Just, you know, not enough to actually listen to her plans or believe in her, but he didn't want to murder her. So anyway, quick break, here's Anubis. You've probably noticed that I have switched to the ice chip. Anubis is one of the only bosses that switches weaknesses because we have 3 bosses. You probably remember the weaknesses of the other 2. One's electric, one's fire. So obviously the only weakness left on that list is ice. Otherwise this battle works almost the same, it's just, instead of the pillars with spikes on top, you get the 2 halves of the sarcophagus that try to crush you. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty much the same fight. So it's really just kind of incredibly easy, and yeah, just keep hitting his damage threshold so he keeps going underground. This is not a challenging fight, slice him in half. Yeah, you're not even like Zero the Second or anything, you're dumb. I'm way cooler than you. I'll see you again when I'm Anubis Necromancis VI. And there he goes. Okay, so that's the only mission we're doing today, and it was incredibly short. It wasn't even 5 minutes long. But we do have some stuff to get around the base, which could have actually been obtained, like, after the first mid-game mission. So if I just backed out of the trio of bosses we've got now, I could have gotten everything beforehand, so yeah. Not a big deal to wait until now to do them, though, so I figured we'd just end on the screen where we see all of the old guys that we already know and have killed. So anyway, back on topic. So yeah, up until this point, Ciel's not been in too much physical danger. Of course, failing the resistance, or letting El Piso kill a whole lot of people, wouldn't have been great for her mentally or anything. Like, it's one of those cases where someone like El Piso wouldn't kill Ciel, but also, he doesn't really seem to care about ego death either. Yeah, he just kind of puts a certain Xeno villain to mind. Just, no, I don't want to harm this person. They condemn me in every one of my actions, but, you know, we can work that out later. They absolutely would not be able to work that out later. But yeah, CopyX did very specifically say that Ciel's now considered a maverick amongst the rest of the Reploids in the Resistance. So, yeah, that's how you know this is really serious. Despite everything, Neo Arcadia would have saved Ciel for being a human. It's the same reason why they killed every Reploid in the first game. But then, instead of killing Ciel, they just walked ominously towards her. It is because she's a human, so Reploids are against killing her. It's just that she had no real way to fight back until Zero came in and started shooting them all to death, whilst having amnesia. Really embarrassing for them. So, yeah, I think, in general, despite this, I think the tone of 0-3 is a lot less heavy than 1 and 2, especially 1. 1 is the bleakest game, I would say. There's certainly things in this game that, fit with kind of the dark and edgy sort of tone that people, on the outside typically know 0 for. But I think the game starts with Ciel saying, hey, I finally figured out that energy system. And mechanically, we have the Cyber Elves who don't need to die anymore. So, like, that all makes it feel a little bit lighter. It's just, now we have this new threat who is completely unstable. Dr. Vile is just terrible. So I guess it's just a situation of, we thought there was a light at the end of the tunnel, but then a guy just dropped a tunnel in front of us, and now we have to keep going through tunnels. It sucks. You're just like, why do you keep putting tunnels here, Dr. Vile? How do you even do that? And he just flips you off and keeps doing it. I really wish that was the Lamp Lord, but I think that's a different enemy. Also, yeah, just a lot of quizzes in this one. If you're wondering why this is 12 minutes even though the stage is 5 minutes long, yeah, it's because we've got so many quizzes. Andrew had a quiz, this guy's got a quiz. Are there any other quizzes we should know about? Oh, and if we try to go to the maintenance room, yeah, it's in use. Harpoo is not doing great. That's the other thing that is really kind of weird about 0-3's tone, and I don't know how to set it. Like, we kind of lost our rivals. They're all just out of commission at this point. So, like... yeah, we don't have that constant enemy. And because of the way they are, we're, like... despite the fact that we're trying to constantly kill each other, they're really into it. So, we kinda lost all of our friendly faces in Neo Arcadia. Copy X is weirder than usual. Omega just floats there going all the time, so like, how's he gonna be a rival? Pfft, can't be. And then, yeah, you just have Dr. Vile. The worst person ever created. Cyber Elf X was once the original X, but now he has no body. Sucks for him. We haven't really heard much of, X either. Like, he is around still, but it's mostly just been the Resistance on their own. Yeah, now the babies are against us. It's weird, like... 03 is definitely not a friendly game by any mean. Also, Jackaloid. I mean, yeah, I guess that is how you would shorten Reploid. But yeah, it's certainly not a friendly game by any stretch of the imagination, but because of the progress we've been making, it does feel like the world's just a little bit better. It's just now we have this guy who's come in and threatens to overturn all of that. So certainly something much worse looms on the horizon. But I don't... they really called it Purple Murple, right? I forgot about that somehow. Anyway though, right, yeah, so... I feel like, overall, much less dire mood than 01, but the world could be a much worse place, so Zero kinda just has to keep doing his thing. Look, just because things are going a little better doesn't mean they can't be worse in the future if we're not careful. You always gotta remember that. Okay, well, that'll do it. Next time on Mega Man 03, since we won't have stuff to do around the base, I'm just gonna do both of the next two stages. We're just gonna finish the mid-game next time. So let me tell you, those next few stages, also not particularly long. It's all kinda short, but it still kinda winds up being a longer mid-game than we're used to at this point.